Great. And so I'm going to call up somebody. We'll be reading his bio right now. He is one of those that you must make sure he leaves what? Empty. He's one of those that you must make sure virtue does what? Leaves him. So tell yourself, I will make sure virtue leaves him. I will make sure virtue leaves him. So I'm setting you up. But that's how it should be, right? Because he's literally gone into the future. And he's here today to share with you tips that will help you stay relevant. We would read his bio. And when we're done reading his bio, while he's coming up, the DJ will give us the music. We would have him give us 1 or 2 steps while he comes up. And as he does that, we will do drum rolls. We need him to know we are prepared for him. We are prepared to receive, right? So did we get the order? Great. We would read his bio, listen to the screen, and then he would come up. And while he's coming up, he will be giving us some dance moves, and we would be giving him the words, the drum rolls. Don't forget, because he must know that we are ready to do what? To receive of him. All right, over to you, media.
Mr. Gbite Falade is the Group MD CEO of Aradel Holdings Plc, a leading NGX-listed integrated energy company with operating footprints in the upstream, midstream, and downstream sectors. Prior to the Aradel role, he had been the MD GCOO of Oilserve, a pipeline and facilities EPCIC company, COO for Oando Energy Resources, Executive Director of Oando Gas and Power Limited, Petroleum Economics Discipline and Portfolio Lead for Shell E&P Africa Region, among other roles. Mr. Gbite Falade is a transformative and thought leader in the energy industry and features frequently as speaker in conferences and workshops, both locally and internationally. He is the chairman of the Independent Petroleum Producer Group, IPPG, the umbrella body of 34 indigenous and independent upstream oil and gas companies in Nigeria. Mr. Gbite Falade is a first-class graduate of Electrical and Electronic Engineering from the University of Ibadan and holds a master's degree in Business Administration from Warwick Business School, Coventry, UK. He is happily married with 3 children and is a member of New Dawn Baptist Church, Lagos, where he serves as a bivocational minister. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Gbite Falade.
Port Harcourt, let's give it up for Mr. Gbite Falade. We are giving him the drum rolls, the drum rolls, the drum rolls. Louder, loud, he can be louder. So where's the move?
What a welcome. I shouldn't have expected anything different in the midst of young people. You guys have a way of making someone feel he's still very young. Thank you. Thank you, Ignite Pro community. Thank you for the honor and the privilege to be here to share some thoughts at your 3rd convening session under Accelerate 3.0 bootcamp. I feel extremely honored. I feel extremely privileged. And I'll do my best to unleash as much as I can, to unload as much as I can, hoping that I can leave here empty. The theme for the keynote address, and I believe for today's conference, is future-proof, sustaining relevance. And today I have the honor and the privilege to zoom in on the subtopic of the relevance imperative, the imperative of staying relevant. So distinguished organizers of the Ignite Pro community, mentors, facilitators, fellow leaders, young professionals, graduates undergraduates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a real privilege to stand before you today at Accelerate 3.0, a gathering designed not just to inspire you, but to prepare you. And preparation matters because the future does not announce itself politely. It does not knock gently. It arrives suddenly through a technology, through a policy shift, through a market disruption, through some geopolitical imbalances, in the form of a new competitor, a new platform, a new way of working, a new way of thinking. It's against this backdrop that the theme of this bootcamp becomes very hot, very powerful, and very profound, that we need to pay attention to the matter of being future-proof, and not just about generating relevance, but more importantly, sustaining relevance. A mentor figure told me that getting to the top is probably one of the easiest things to do. Staying at the top is the most difficult thing to do. Now, let me speak about this, that what we're looking at today is not the relevance suggestion. It's not the relevance option. It's not an optional thing. The word or the key word, the adjective of being imperative shows that it is what we must have. Because in the world we now live in, relevance is no longer a nice advantage. Relevance is about survival. Relevance is influence. Relevance brings access. Relevance creates opportunities. Today, whether we realize it or not, relevance is the new alter ego for job security. For many years, people believed that job security came from a certificate, from a permanent role, from the nature of the contract of employment that you have, whether you are full-time or you are contract staff. People think it comes from the kind of employer that you work for. I remember back in those days when I started my career in Shell about 30 years ago, I knew colleagues who would leave Shell office wearing coverall to go into town. Let everybody see me say, na Shell they work for. At that time, relevance was defined by who you worked for. For some, it's about a government appointment. Now they know us. That's why I was appointed a minister, a commissioner. For some, it's about a professional title or a long career in one particular industry. But the reality today is that job security is no longer guaranteed by where you work. It is guaranteed by the value that you can continue to create. The truth is, your degree may open the door, but it's your relevance that keeps you in the room. Your title may introduce you, but what sustains the conversation is your competence. Your network, and people have correctly amplified the relevance of network. People say your network is your net worth. That network can give you access. But you know what determines whether people will call you again is the value that you bring to the table. And so today I want to speak to you not only as a business leader, not only as somebody from the energy sector where I work, but as a co-traveler with you in a rapidly changing world. I'd like to share my thoughts on how to remain valuable when the world keeps changing, and when the world keeps changing, what value means. So let me begin with a simple truth that I know from the only industry where I've ever worked, which is the energy industry. This is one of the most important, the most scrutinized, the most disrupted, and probably one of the most misunderstood industries in the world. For a century, and for more than a century, oil and gas powered industrial growth. It powered transportation, it powered manufacturing, aviation, petrochemicals, agriculture, healthcare, and even modern life. Today, oil and gas still account for more than half of global energy consumption. Billions of people still depend on hydrocarbons directly or indirectly every day. But in spite of that, the energy industry is being reshaped in our very before our very highs. The International Energy Agency estimates that global energy investment crossed $3.3 trillion in 2025, with approximately $2.2 trillion directed towards clean energy technologies and infrastructure. Electric vehicle sales have grown from what people thought was a niche category barely a decade ago to more than 20 million cars sold globally in 2025, representing over 1 in every 5 cars sold worldwide. Renewable energy capacity additions have broken records. Artificial intelligence is transforming the way we explore, the way we produce, the way we refine, the way we trade, the way we do logistics, the way we do maintenance and safety. At the same time, energy demand is still rising in many parts of the world. Today, there are over 600 million people globally that don't have access to electricity. And more than 2.2 billion people in the world today still do not have access to clean cooking. The story is even more dire in Africa, where hundreds of millions of people need reliable, affordable energy to power their homes, their schools, their hospitals, their industries, their farms, their cold chains, their data centers. So the bottom line is this: our industry faces one of the defining questions of this century. And that question is, how do we provide the energy that the world needs today while building the energy system that the world needs tomorrow? And that's the relevance question. And every industry, not just the energy industry, has its own version of that document, of that question. How do you stay relevant today while still building the systems, the architecture that sustains that relevance going into the future? So, for example, banks are asking, how do we remain relevant today when fintechs can deliver financial services on a phone faster than a branch can process a form? I was privileged to see a data that was listing banks by valuation. And it shocked me that by valuation today, the number 2 or number 3 bank is a fintech company, MoneyPoint. It just shows how much disruption is going on. Universities are asking the question, how do we remain relevant when a young person can learn data analytics, product design, or artificial intelligence from a global expert online at either no or very little cost? Media houses are asking the question, how do we remain relevant when every smartphone user today is now a journalist, is a broadcaster, is a publisher, is a critic, is a creator? There are massive disruptions that are taking place. And today, some of the people that have the largest followership as media personalities are not working in traditional media institutions. So the world is changing. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, accountants, marketers, civil servants, entrepreneurs, everybody is facing this same reality. And the future is asking each one of us just one question. And that question is, what value do you still bring? It's a value question. That's how we answer that value question resolves the issue of relevance imperative. Ladies and gentlemen, may I state that we are living through what I will call the great repricing of skills. The value of skills is changing extremely rapidly. Some skills are becoming more valuable. Some are becoming less valuable. Some are becoming automated. Some are becoming globalized. Some that used to be exclusive have become democratized. Everybody has access to it. The World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report projects that by 2030, about 170 million new jobs could be created globally, while 92 million jobs may be displaced. You will say it is a net gain when you look at those numbers, but behind that is a massive reshuffling of opportunity. The same report estimates that nearly 40% of workers' core skills will change by 2030. And just so we understand it, we're in 2026. So that's just about 3.5 years to come. And that about 59% of the global workforce we have today, about 60% of the global workforce we have today, will require either training or reskilling, just so that they can remain relevant. Please just think about that. It means that for many people, the problem will not be that there are no opportunities. The problem will be that the opportunities will require capabilities that they don't currently have. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has also estimated that artificial intelligence could affect about 40% of jobs globally and up to 60% in advanced economies. That does not mean that all the jobs we have now will disappear. It just means that many jobs will be redesigned. Some tasks will be automated. Some roles will become more productive. Some people will be displaced. Some people will be elevated. The question today is not whether AI will come. AI is already here. The real question is, will AI replace you? Will it assist you? Or will it amplify you? That answer, however it is, would depend and determine your relevance. There was a time when being hardworking was all that you just needed to succeed. Today, hard work is still important, but unfortunately, it is not enough. There was a time when information was scarce, and people who could hoard information, either those who owned textbooks, were the stars. I remember back then in the university, not like what you have now, we had libraries. And so lecturers will give you assignments, you go to the library, use the index card, you get to the right rack, you get to the right section, you get to the book, somebody has either taken the book or they've torn the pages of the book. And then you start looking for who is that person that has it. If you are not careful, that person will begin to charge money. Today, all that barrier is gone. So it's not just about hard work. Today, information is everywhere. And then there was a time when experience alone created authority. Today, experience must be combined with curiosity, with speed, and adaptability. In the days we're living in the days when we were growing up, and by the way, I'm still growing up, when you are in a gathering like this, you're in a church, whoever is holding the microphone, every word is pronouncing, you are soaking it in. Today, as you're speaking, people are fact-checking you. I held a session with some young men, and I was almost thrown off balance, just to underscore this point around access to information. I'd just established a truth, And one of the persons online, a very young guy, because it was a mentoring circle of young people, just fired a question online at me. The topic was from surviving to thriving. And I just spoken the truth, which the guy, either he was distracted, he didn't take it fully in. He just fired a question. I saw it, everybody saw it. He said, but the richest people are not all believers. There are many believers. When I saw that, it first of all rattled me. But I balanced and then I responded. But what am I trying to bring out? There is access to a lot of information now. That access to information has destroyed a lot of barriers that we used to have. So the world is no longer rewarding people merely for what they know. The world is now rewarding people for how quickly they can learn, how quickly they can learn, how quickly they can apply, how quickly they can collaborate, but most importantly, how they can do all of this to create value. That is why when you start your career, if you have not started, one of the most dangerous phrases that you should avoid is the phrase that says, I failed. The reality is that failure provides great opportunity for us to learn, and we can learn a lot from failure. The most dangerous phrase is not that I failed. The most dangerous phrase is the phrase that says, this is the way we have always done it. And if I'm going to leave you with some nuggets, as you aspire to keep yourself future-proof, I would say avoid the phrase, this is how we have always done it. It's the greatest limitation to having a future-proof future. That phrase has killed more companies, more careers, more ideas, and more nations than many of us realize. Kodak understood photography, but it underestimated digital imaging. Nokia understood mobile phones, but it underestimated software systems. BlackBerry understood secure communication, but it understood and underestimated the app economy and the touchscreen revolution. And I could say more instances. Again and again, history teaches us that success can become a sleeping pill. The very thing that made you successful yesterday can make you slow down tomorrow. So if you are young and ambitious, do not only ask, how do I get a job? Ask, how do I become useful in a changing world? Do not only ask, what course did I study or should I study? The question you should be asking is, what problem can I solve? Do not only ask, who will employ me? The question you should be answering is, what value can I create so clearly that the market cannot ignore me? Because the future belongs to problem solvers. And I want to be very clear that the most relevant people in the coming years will not necessarily be those who have the most certificates. Certificates matter, please don't get me wrong. Education matters, please don't get me wrong. Credentials matters, and you should have certificates, you should have education, you should build credentials. But the most relevant people will be those who can stand at the intersection of knowledge, technology, human understanding, and execution. There will be people who can think clearly, communicate powerfully, adapt quickly, work ethically, lead courageously, and solve real problems. So please allow me to share 4 key principles that have shaped my own understanding of relevance. The first principle is that relevance begins with awareness. You cannot prepare for a future you are not paying attention to. Many people are surprised by change because they are too distracted to notice the signals. They are not reading the data. They wake up one morning and say, suddenly everything has changed. But most change has never been sudden. It is gradual, then it is visible, then it becomes unavoidable. Before a wave becomes a wave, it starts off as a ripple. Pay attention to the ripples. What are the ripples you are noticing in your day-to-day journey? When young people tell me they want to succeed, I often ask them, what are you reading? Who are you listening to? What trends are you tracking? What industries do you observe is growing? What skills are you improving? What problems are becoming urgent? What technologies are attracting investment? What regulations are changing? What behaviors are shifting among customers and consumers? You cannot spend 6 hours a day consuming entertainment and expect to compete with someone spending 6 hours a day building capability. That does not mean you should not relax. It just means you have to be more intentional. Principle number 2, relevance requires reinvention. Every season of life demands a new version of you. The version of you that got admission may not be enough to get employment. The version of you that got employment may not be enough to earn a promotion. The version of you that created or earned promotion may not be enough to lead transformation. The version of you that succeeded locally may not be enough to compete globally. Reinvention is not a betrayal of your past. Reinvention is respect for your future. In reinvention, you are breaking the limits of your present existence. In reinvention, how do you know you are reinventing yourself? Reinvention comes with some level of discomfort. Discomfort is the greatest evidence that you are growing and you are reinventing yourself. And there is no growth in comfort, as there is no comfort in growth. How do you test if you are investing in that reinvestment? You need to continue to assess the level of comfort with the status quo. And if you are so comfortable with the status quo where you don't need to do anything else, it's a signal that you need to step out of that mode and reinvent yourself. There must always be that creative tension that comes because you are growing. The third principle I'd like to speak to is that relevance is built through execution, not through intention. The reality is that the world does not reward you for your potential. Potential is like crude oil that is underground. It may be valuable, but until it is discovered, until it's produced, until it is converted into useful products, it does not power anything. In the same way, your potential must be refined into competence. Your ideas must become projects. Your learning must become output. Your ambition must become discipline. Your exposure must become execution. We live in a time and in a season where many people are experts in announcing what they plan to do, and many times on the pages of social media, they post the dream, they design the logo, they write the biography, they create the vision board, but they never build the muscle of execution. If you're going to be relevant into the future, you must transit and pivot away from ideas into execution. Visibility without substance is very fragile. Personal branding is important, but personal capacity is more important. Your brand should be the fragrance of your value, not a perfume that is covering emptiness. If you say you want to work in energy, understand the value chain. Understand upstream, midstream, downstream. Understand every aspect. Invest in that. If you say you are passionate about entrepreneurship, understand customers, understand cost, understand cash flow, understand distribution. Execution is the evidence of seriousness. The fourth principle, relevance must be anchored on character. And for me, this is very critical. The future that we are trying to prove ourselves against or for is a marathon race. It's not an 100 meters dash. and you must run it as a marathon where you've invested and built the marathon and the stamina to last the distance. You're unable to do that if you don't build character. In a fast-changing world, skills may get you invited, but character will determine if you are trusted. And trust is the currency of lasting relevance. You can be brilliant and still become irrelevant if people cannot trust you. You can be talented and people would avoid you if you lack humility. You can be visible and still be dangerous if you don't have integrity. The future needs competent people, yes, but it also needs people that are dependable. People who can handle responsibility. People who can keep confidence. People who can admit mistakes. People who can make ethical decisions under pressure. People who can lead without arrogance. People who can win without destroying others. Reputation compounds. Reputation makes you bigger. In the same way, irresponsibility diminishes. It diminishes to the same degree. So think about every email, every meeting, every promise, every deadline, every financial decision, every public statement, every private action. They are deposits or withdrawals from your trust account. You need to protect that account. So let me bring it a bit home, and I know that I'm running a bit behind time now. Africa is the youngest continent in the world. The median age of this continent is around 19. By 2050, roughly 1 in 4 people on earth will be an African. Nigeria alone has more than 220 million people with a very young, creative, and energetic population. This data is either a demographic dividend or a demographic pressure. The difference is in the preparation. If our young people are skilled, healthy, ethical, innovative, and productive, Africa will be one of the greatest growth stories of the 21st century. If they are undereducated, underskilled, disconnected, and frustrated, we will certainly face serious social and economic consequences. That is why this Accelerate 3.0 is important and it matters. This is not just a boot camp. In my mind, it's part of a national and continental assignment. And to every young person here today, you are not waiting for the future. You're already inside that future. The decisions you make now, the skills you build, the habits you form, the people you follow, the mentors you seek, the books you read, the platforms you use, the problems you solve, they are shaping the person you will become tomorrow. So, what should you do differently after this bootcamp? I'll mention, without being elaborate, 7 key things that I would like to put across to you as action points after this bootcamp. Number 1, build learning agility. Learning agility is the ability to keep learning when the environment is changing. Number 2, build critical thinking. Critical thinking is the ability to ask and challenge. Is this true? What is the evidence? What is missing? Who benefits? What are the asks? Do not outsource your mind. In the equation of the sovereign and the mortals that we are, we all have our responsibilities. Do not outsource your own responsibility and hand it over to God when He has designed the capacity to make the calls and the decisions to you. Build critical thinking. Build communication. You can have brilliant ideas, but if you cannot communicate them, you will limit your influence. Learn to write clearly. Learn to speak with structure. Learn to listen deeply. Learn to persuade without manipulating. Learn to influence, seek for influence, not for authority. Number 4, build adaptability. Adaptability does not mean you have no values. It means you have the wisdom to change your methods without losing your mission. Number 5, build networks. No one becomes future-proof alone. Relationships are not just for finding jobs. Relationships help you to see opportunities, to test ideas, to receive correction, and all the like. Build relationships not as a transaction. Build relationships intentionally. Number 6, build resilience. Because the future we're going into will test you. For example, you will apply for many jobs, and certainly you'll be rejected. You will build and fail. You will speak and be misunderstood. You will try and fall short. That does not mean you are finished. It just means that you are being trained. Resilience is not making pretension that pain does not exist. It is refusing to let pain have the final say. And finally, build a sense of purpose. Purpose is not always a dramatic voice, loud voice from heaven. Most times, purpose begins with a conviction, with a burden, with a problem that you can solve, with a problem that you cannot ignore, with a people that want to serve, with a future you feel responsible for, with a contribution you are willing to prepare for. It is in the context of purpose that discipline finds meaning. And when purpose is strong, it becomes easier to sacrifice. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to close with a picture. Imagine 2 young professionals standing at the edge of the future. One says, I hope things work out. The other says, I will prepare, I will adapt, I will learn, I will build, I will serve, I will create value. One is waiting to be rescued. The other is becoming relevant. One complains that the world is changing. The other studies the change and positions for impact. One is afraid that technology will take their place. The other learns how to use technology to expand their capacity. One says there are no opportunities. The other says there are problems everywhere. And problems are opportunities wearing work clothes. My challenge to you today is simple. Please become that second person. Become too skilled to be ignored. Become too useful to be dismissed. Become too adaptable to be stranded. Become too ethical to be doubted. Become too committed to be average. The future will not be kind to everyone, but the future will make room for those who are prepared to serve it with value. At the end of this boot camp, do not merely live here being motivated. Motivation is good, but motivation fades over time. Live with a plan. Live with a learning agenda. Live with a skill target. Live with 3 relationships in this place that you didn't have before now that you will commit to nurturing. Live with 1 project that you will execute. Live with a determination of an habit that you will stop and of an habit that you will start. Because relevance is not built in a day, it is built daily. Every day you are either becoming more relevant or you are becoming less relevant. There is no neutral ground. The future does not belong to the oldest industry or the newest technology. It belongs to those who can create value through change. It belongs to those who can combine competence with character. It belongs to those who can see beyond disruption and discover opportunity. It belongs to those who are humble enough to learn, bold enough to act, wise enough to adapt, and strong enough to endure. That is the relevance imperative. That is how you future-proof your life. That is how you sustain relevance. And that is how you become the kind of leader, the kind of professional, the kind of entrepreneur, innovator, and citizen that Africa and the world urgently needs. Thank you. God bless you all, and I wish you a truly transformational Accelerate 3.0.
We will make Jesus proud. After what we've heard today, are we not going to make him proud? Absolutely, we will. Whew. Fire, side conversation, and it was really, really intense. And I'm just going to do quick random sampling. But before that, we'll be taking some questions. We don't have a lot of time, but we have purposed in our hearts that Mr. Gbite will leave here what? He will leave here what? No, not soft though. It will leave empty. All right, so please, if you have questions, can I see your hands? Or if you would like to send me your written questions, you have to be fast. Fast. Going once, one, in twice, thrice, two. Wait, ladies, I'm now looking for you. Okay, so we do like this, one, we do like this, two, we do like this, 3, 4, 5. Please, the question has to be direct. Leave what happened 12 years ago. This is it. This is my question. I beg you. I will collect the mic. All right, so please, can I just have you come here? Thank you, if you don't mind. Please, everyone, just come here. Thank you very much, if you don't mind. Yes, please. Okay.
Okay, good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. My name is David Ndukwe. So my question, I enjoyed your section. It was really inspiring. So as a young graduate or interested in the energy sector, if you could go back in time to give your 21-year-old self or your early 20s self an advice, what was one thing you would tell your 21-year-old self? Like, or what's one thing you could change? Like, if you could go back in time to do differently, what's one thing you would do differently? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sir, shall I take 2 or 3 questions so that you answer? Yes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Febu, a young professional marine engineer. Thank you very much for today's section. I really gained a lot. I know the topic is relevance, but I'm going more on sustainability and renewable energy. We're living in a world where we're transitioning to renewable energy and sustainability, clean energy. As a marine engineer, are we really, talking from the aspect of a marine engineer, are we really ready for this transition? Looking at the way we acquire vessels that are operating on low renewable energy setup.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Favor Okechukwu. So my question is a very straightforward question, and it goes like this. What are the practices that have helped you sustain relevance throughout your career?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Promise Kimwosu. I'm a first-class graduate of Environmental Management and Pollution Control from Nigerian Maritime University. So I just recently passed out from National Youth Service, and I learned that, with my course, that there could be an unlikelihood of working in the energy company, which is my area of interest. So I had to take on courses like HSE, Quality Management System, and Quality Assurance and Quality Control. So having had these qualities of mine, where do you think my qualities align with the energy industry? Thank you.
We see what you did there. We see it. We see you see us.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joshua Destiny, and my question is, so you said what makes you successful yesterday can slow you down tomorrow. So I need an explanation on that. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ihechi Emmanuel, and I want to say that your session was really insightful. But my question is on procurement. I am a young professional in procurement, and so I want to ask, how do we really grow? Because I know that procurement is one aspect of the energy industry that is evolving and is very necessary. because all of the tools that are being used are bought, and especially in the light of local content and all. So I want to ask, how do I grow in procurement, especially as regards the energy industry? Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir, for your insights and speech. And I'm happy that you are my mentor in the field, electrical engineering also. So I have this question here. As the energy sector moves towards decarbonization and operational efficiency, energy companies are increasing their sector of automation, digital twin, right? Now in the means of decarbonization. So I want to ask this question: what are the technical skills that you feel? Because you mentioned something that your degree is not enough, right? We have to upskill and get other credentials. So what are the skills that you feel like we'll need in this era of decarbonization in the oil and gas industry? And two, I have this, my project I did in school was on ground robotics for pipeline investigation, right? I tried to reduce the effect of, let me say, hazard on personnel working in the field. So I have this mind to ensure to build like a robot that can do such, right? Meaning that I did that in school already. But when I share these ideas to people that this is what I want to do, they kind of turn it down, right? But seeing you, for example, in this frontier in the oil and gas industry, I want to ask, how were you able to do this alone? Being that me, I'm starting from the scratch, trying to build, because I've already seen the problem, because you mentioned something in your speech that picture a problem that you can fix. I have seen this problem. I know that I can fix this problem, but starting up that stuff is kind of difficult. I have the idea, I have the knowledge, but I don't know how to start about it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. I loved your session so much, and I would love to ask a question. I'm a 300-level petroleum and gas engineering student, University of Port Harcourt. So you said something about education not being enough to stay relevant in the industry. So I would like to ask, what are the things we can do, the skills we can learn to stay relevant to the industry, so that when we're done with school, we can impact and probably get jobs and, you know.
He gave us 7 principles, but I won't answer for you.
I don't know if the time that I have to ask this question will be enough, but let me make a stab at it. Also recognizing that there are some of the questions that are similar in structure. So the first question from, I'm not sure I got the name right, Ndukwe, I hope. You are interested in the energy sector. You are asking me to travel back 21 years ago, and what sort of useful advice will I give? That's failing from the beginning. Because what worked 21 years ago will not work now. And I'm being very plain about it. 21 years ago, let me put it this way. When I sat for JAMB, I sat for JAMB probably about 37 years ago. In the JAMB prospectus, the total number of universities that we have that we can choose from was just probably 1 or 2 pages. It wasn't more than maximum. I doubt if it was more than 30. Whether it was federal university, state university, I don't even think we had private university then. Today, I don't know if they still have prospectus, but I know the options of universities that you have today is close to 400. There are some courses that exist today that didn't exist then. As engineering, you either do civil, you do mechanical, you do chemical, you do electrical, you do industrial, you do petroleum. But there are some engineering courses that I hear about today. I'm like, wow. So things have changed. Please don't depend on what made it work for us 21 years ago. So I'll try to stay in the today. In the today, yes, there are certain things that worked 21 years ago that are still relevant, and I've spoken to a number of them in the course of my speech. your habits, your attitudes, and your values, there are some that are timeless, they never change. Hard work it never fails. Without hard work, you will not go far then. Without hard work, you will not go far now. Focus is important. The mindset to continuously learn and the mindset not to be satisfied with where you find yourself is very important. To survive today and to thrive today, your mind needs to operate like a sponge that is just soaking up and soaking up. Because the reality is that in the world that you are walking in today, you are in the knowledge economy. You are in the knowledge age. So I would just say today, please recognize the fact that you may have more limited options than we had then. And let me tell a story to illustrate this. It's a story I shared with my son. So my father told me that when they went to the university, before they come out of school in the university, there is already a job waiting for them. And the industry, the premium industry they want to work in is the civil service. That's all the industry they knew. In fact, he said, as you are coming out, there is a form given to you for the car. You get a car loan. And what you are deciding is it blue color, blue B2, or white B2? It was that simple. But as I started growing up, I noticed that some of my dad's siblings did not go into government civil service. They went into the private sector. And it became very clear to me that those who took the decision to go to the private sector had a better handing than those who were civil servants. So I quickly made up my mind that I would not go to civil service. And as I was getting close to graduating, my dad was like, okay, so let's go and get the civil service form. I said, no, Daddy, it's not going to work. What happened, I noticed the change. And please, I'm not demonizing the civil service, but I'm speaking about general trend. I noticed the change. So I made up my mind I was going to work in the industry. And so I was speaking a few years ago to my own son, and I said, this is what worked for my father in his own time. This is what worked for me in my own time. I do not expect that the same thing will work for you in your time. In your time, it has to be less around a paid employment. The percentage, increasingly the percentage of those who are graduating that would earn their living and their craft through 9-to-5 job is shrinking as a percentage of the population. And the earlier you recognize the fact that, yes, I've gone to school, but I may not end up working for a Renaissance, for a Total, the better for your sanity. And what that does is to begin to challenge your mind as to what you can do with your own craft. And let me say this, with benefit of time, the most successful and most outstanding people are not necessarily those who worked in the Total, in the ExxonMobils, and the Shells. There are people who chose a different path to go into small and medium enterprise environments, and they've succeeded. So prepare yourself, but when the reality of coming to the job market comes, be willing to embrace whatever opportunity that comes. So stay adaptable, stay flexible, be hardworking, but without repeating all that I've said, watch what is changing. What is the tide that is changing? So I'm standing before you today as somebody who studied electrical and electronics engineering, but I'm standing 31 years after graduation as the CEO of an oil and gas company. So what changed for me? At the time when I got into employment, what was the in thing was IT. The way fintech and artificial intelligence is buzzing right now is the way it was buzzing then. So I went in and I got into an IT role in an oil company. But a few years down the line, it just struck me that I'm stuck. It's one of two things: continue this IT in this industry and end up being an IT manager, and that's where you retire from. Or carry your IT skills and go to proper IT companies where you can one day become the MD. Or thirdly, change your skill from being an IT person. And what I did was just looking at the data, I started exploring all of them. I was applying while I was working for Shell. I didn't have problem with Shell. Shell was very happy with me. My career was flying. But I was reading the data. And the data was telling me you're in a cul-de-sac. I applied, MTN just started then, V-Mobile, then they were Econet, they just started then. I applied. They didn't give me a look in. Then I started applying to technology consulting companies, Accenture, and all of that. Eventually, Accenture actually offered me a job. But the job that they offered me, I felt the level they were bringing me in was significantly below where I should be. But at the same time, I was also working hard within the organization. I was intervening, not that they announced vacancies. I was going to meet managers to say, I'm adaptable. I'm doing an MBA. I want to become an economist, a petroleum economist. How did all that happen? What is the data saying to you? Be flexible. Don't say because I read law, I must of necessity go and practice law. Be flexible. What is the data saying? As long as you can continue to make those decisions, not only at the macro level of what jobs, but even the opportunities you show up at, I think you'll be fine. It's difficult to prescribe because of the rapidly changing landscape to say this is how it's going to be. We can guide you with the mindset and the attitude that you must have that then allows you to be able to key in. So that's what I would say about that. Emmanuel, you asked whether we are ready for energy transition. As a marine engineer, you see the investments that are being made with respect to vessels that people are buying. I think it's not your, that question is not your concern. So if I answer and I say we are not ready, what's the usefulness? How does that help you? Okay, you should be looking for the data that speaks to you. What does the data say? Is the data establishing, for example, time up. It's not my fault. It's all the people that ask many questions. And you said I should leave you empty. Okay, I will be very quick about it. Just look at what's the forecast. Look for data. And these days is knowledge age. Knowledge age. You can get so much data. What's the trend saying? What's the shelf life of this industry? Is this the industry that I should be in or an industry that I should move away from? Read the data and let that data prayerfully guide the choice of your decisions, and you should be fine. Let me see which one. Somebody is asking that it seems there is a high unlikeliness of finding a job in the energy industry. The energy industry will only employ a fraction of people, but there are multiple ways of coming into the energy industry. You can go and begin your access to energy industry by going to work for KPMG. Go and hone your skills somewhere else. KPMG, in a bank, in other professional services units. You may not be able to come in as an entry person, but you can come in as a skilled person. But go and build your skills somewhere else. And it will get to a point that those companies in the energy industry are looking for an excellent auditor. They are looking for somebody who is very good with respect to community relationship. But because you've not been you've been building that skill somewhere else, when that time comes, you're able to show up at the table. How do I grow in procurement? From Kelechi. Please reflect on all that I've said. I'm sure you'll find some guidance in there. The gentleman who is into robotics, how do you get your ideas going? How do you go about solving problems? You don't stop. Very successful people today are not successful because the door was opened at the first ask of knocking. For some of them, they knocked till their knuckles became very bruised. You don't allow a rejection to define you. Like I said, I knocked many doors. Your job is to keep knocking. And keep knocking in a very prayerful way. And if you don't give up knocking, one day the door will open. Some of those knocks are not about the doors you knock. It's about the way you knock yourself. So don't be very gentle on yourself. Knock yourself into shape. Knock yourself to the level of knowledge, skills, and proficiency that somebody says, even without you looking for it, says you are the person we need. And when the opportunity comes, please don't be a reclusive person that you're always on your own. How do people know about you when there is no way of also being visible? And I'm not saying go and chase the click visibility Instagram thing. There's just something about capacity that is a perfume. Either in the place where in volunteering, people have just come to the terms that this guy has got it. And then you become a referrer. Thank you.
Can we give him a round of applause, please? Thank you. Please, can we have all the speakers come up for a very quick photo session? Thank you, Mr. Nixon, Ms. Topperer, Madam Hanson. And then right after that, we'll be taking pictures with the Board of Trustees as well. Do we have the photographer here? Please, media, can we have? Thank you. He's here. Alrighty. While they're taking pictures, please keep reflecting. Keep reflecting on all that has been said here today. Please, we'll be taking with the Board of Trustees right after this.
And the love that you showed, and the prayer that you made, I will make Jesus proud. Lord, the price that you paid, and the love that you showed, and the prayer that you made, I will make Jesus.
Thank you very much. Please, can we have the Board of Trustees? And of course, Rotoba. We'll be having Pastor Tolu join and Miss Faith as well. No.
Oh Jesus, I made up my mind to follow. I'll follow you. It is written about me to follow. I must walk the walk of the one who sent me. Oh, while it is day, we must walk. Oh, hey, we must walk. We must walk. Till we see him face to face. The nations are waiting. The people are hungry. The master is in need.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, can we give him a round of applause once again? And while we're settling in, I have a quick announcement to make. Please, if you are looking for your ATM card, alert by Wema, please let me know. We don't have a name on it, so you might need to give me, something to determine that it's yours. Also, if you're looking for your glasses, let me know. I'll be over here, ready to hand them over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause one more time for Mr. Gbite Falade. That was an amazing session. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the wealth of wisdom. One of the major things I picked from Mr. Gbite Falade is the last things he said. He said, keep knocking into shame. And he also said, capacity is a perfume. One more time, please, a round of applause for him. Thank you. And also a round of applause for yourselves. Those were some amazing questions, the delegates. Thank you. It shows we are all ready. It keeps getting better and better, but I've been told to remind you that you should please not forget to follow us on Instagram at Ignite Pro Community. Use the hashtag, take selfies with your neighbor on your left and on your right, and post it on your stories, tag us, and we'll definitely repost. You can also follow us on LinkedIn at Ignite Pro Community. All right, it keeps getting better and better, ladies and gentlemen. This is a session I have looked forward to. It's going to be a fireside chat, and then it's going to have a brief presentation just before the fireside chat. Ladies and gentlemen, before I call the media team to give us his bio, I just want you to make some noise for the MD CEO of Signature Bank Limited. A round of applause for him and make some noise. All right, media team, please give us the bio of Mr. Nixon Iwedi. Thank you.
Mr. Nixon Iwedi is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Signature Bank Limited. With over 28 years of experience in banking and financial services, he has built expertise across commercial and corporate banking, global transaction services, and compliance. Before joining Signature Bank, he served as the Pioneer Executive Director and Executive Compliance Officer at Globus Bank Limited. He began his banking career at GT Bank in 1997 and later held several senior leadership positions at Access Bank, including Group Head, Global Transaction Banking, and Zonal Head, Commercial Banking, Port Harcourt. Mr. Nixon also gained international experience as a Senior Investment Officer with the Netherlands Development Finance Company, FMO, in The Hague, where he specialized in deal structuring, origination, and credit risk management. He holds a bachelor's degree in chemistry from the University of Port Harcourt, MBA degrees from Bangor University UK and River State University, and is an alumnus of INSEAD and IMD. He is a certified member of CIBN and the Chartered Banker Institutes of Scotland and Wales, and a fellow of the National Institute of Credit Administration. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Nixon Iwedi.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. A standing ovation for Mr. Nixon Iwedi. Thank you so much, sir. You're welcome. Please don't stop clapping till he gets on stage. Okay, please, can we have the restroom?
Since I took a glance, I've been stuck on you. But I still want as you lame, you show your countenance. Desperate, oh, I'm latching on to you. I for once, I'm surrounded. Pull me from the deep end, pull me close to you.